Alright, here's a little update on the Cruiser. Someone has spliced into our main harness and just severed all sorts of connections everywhere. It's for some sort of aftermarket alarm system. And a couple remnants over here. They also did this to my sunroof harness, so we're gonna have to feed that through the top, which is always fun. Anyways, that's basically what we're doing. We're gonna pull this main harness, we're gonna pull all this junk. While we're at it, refoam all the tape around here, get all the dust out from sitting for so long. And that way we got a nice clean HVAC system. Along with all the wiring, will be all original, nothing cut into it. So, quick rundown of what we did when the body was still sitting above the frame. We'd pulled off core support, fender supports, both sides, and absolutely everything that was mounted against the firewall. So, brake booster, AC lines, the brake line that runs across, the steering shaft. We actually replaced the seal that goes to that. Everything that was against the firewall was moved, so we can get to this insulator and remove the old crusty one and put on a nice clean one. All that effort just for the insulator is probably not worth it, but we went ahead and did that anyways. While we were doing that, we also had a pro come and replace the windshield for us with a nice new gasket. And so that's all taken care of. The reason I took the windshield out is because we had some rusting above the roof. And so I sanded that down, welded up some patches, flattened it out, hit it with some primer, so that should keep it solid until I can afford to repaint the whole body. But everything's all buttoned up once more, and I did a test fire. Damn, she runs like shit, but at least she runs. And she starts, so that's good. I've got the dizzy loose so I can play with the timing light and really fine tune everything. Got a nice new OEM radiator in. That's really awesome. The shroud I installed has one broken tab, but I couldn't find a clean one, so we went with this one. That's literally the only flaw. Everything outside of that, this shroud is just really clean. So yeah, that's basically it for the engine bay. Let's go to the dash and HVAC because that's where things get a little interesting. Before we get inside and I show you the dash and everything, we gotta show you what we went through to even get to where we are now. This whole 97 dash harness was ruined by someone who tried to install an aftermarket alarm system. As you can see in here, everything was just, it's terrible. It's terrible. So, replaced one with that. I replaced it with one that hadn't been cut or spliced anywhere. Also out of a 40th anniversary, so it's got the auto harness in there, the auto climate control harness. Something else he did when he was messing with the wires is he cut all of the sunroof harness wires, and spliced in this shit. I wasn't gonna run with that, so we replaced the sunroof harness, which was pretty difficult. So yeah, let's take a look inside now. Here's a nice view of the interior. Although it looks messy, it has come a long way. Everything behind the dash has been replaced. This thing was torn apart down to the bare firewall. All of the HVAC components were restored. Anything that needed replacing was replaced with the original Toyota OEM. Let's get a little closer, a little better lighting here. It's a little bit of a mad scientist setup just because we were doing some testing with the engine, making sure everything fired up and was sound. To complete the interior, of course, we gotta put everything on the dash back together, but I'm gonna start by degreasing all this junk, making sure there's no more rust pockets hiding from us. If we come over here, I was hammer testing this side, giving it some good taps, and my hammer went right through. So I cut everything out up to solid metal, sanded it down, so got a nice little triangle piece here we're gonna weld in, however it goes. Nice. Anyways, we gotta hammer test this side, make sure it's solid. Even though it looks pretty good, pretty okay, still wanna make sure it's really, really solid. And then once that patch is completed, everything is degreased and cleaned up, we're gonna start throwing in the headliner, carpet. We're only gonna be installing the 2 front seats, as none of the rear ones are gonna be used in my setup for now. I still will be storing and saving them. Don't worry, that 2-tone leather is safe with me. All right, we got the welder out, just finished up the patch, hit it with some goop to kind of watertight anything I may have missed. It's really difficult welding this old rusty thin metal without getting any pinholes, so I like to just hit it with some undercoating or some epoxy just to really seal it up after. And you know, sure, you got a black spot, but that's under the carpet. Did want to note really quick, we did put a nice clean fuel tank in and cleaned up the skid plate for that puppy. We also got some really nice clean fuel filler necklines in, so the part wasn't too tricky with the body off, but now it's together, so they ain't coming apart anytime soon. Nice.